Hello, welcome to my channel. My name's Simeon, and recently I went to my first ever book convention. It was Fantasycon 2023. I'll tell you what I learned there and whether I'd recommend checking one out. Okay, let's go. I decided to go to Fantasycon this year because my agent Laura and a lot of the other writers she represents were going. I really wanted to go to one for a few years. I've been wanting to go to a writing convention or a book convention or something like that and actually meet people in real life. So I decided this year was going to be the year I'd actually make the effort, spend the money and go. I personally find events with large crowds and lots of people quite mentally draining, so I thought maybe I'd dip my toe in and just go for one day this year. Anyway, I had a cunning plan.
I've got a plan so cunning you could put a tail on it and call it a weasel.
My cunning plan was to get up at 6 a.m, drive from Norwich to Birmingham, which is about a 3 and a bit hour drive, stay at the convention till about 4, then drive straight back home, and that way I would be home in time to read the kids a story for bedtime. That actually worked, believe it or not, but I wouldn't recommend doing things that way. The next day I was so tired I was like a Snorlax who'd been up all night playing Call of Duty. I set off at 6 a.m. like I'd planned, and that was actually really nice because there was barely any traffic on the road, and I always like driving when it's like that. I got to the hotel roughly on time. Okay, so time has passed and I'm here in Birmingham. There is Birmingham. And I'm going to go check out the hotel, see what's going on with Fantasycon. And I started seeing all these people that I kind of recognised, and I could tell they were writers because, bear in mind, this was a fantasy convention, so a lot of people were wearing kind of, Terry Pratchett t-shirts or clothing with a fantasy or gothic vibe to it. So I could sort of see, oh yeah, you're probably a writer, or you might be a speaker, or you're a book fan or something. So I started hanging around kind of near those people trying to figure out what to do. And I looked at a lady and I was like, hang on, are you my agent? And sure enough, it was Laura and Helen Glynn Jones, who I've actually interviewed on this show. And I guess because people look slightly different in real life than they do on camera, I actually look a lot more like Brad Pitt in real life. That I didn't recognise them straight away, and they didn't recognise me. So that was the first really nice surprise. I also met Kit Mallerie, whom we've had on this channel before for an interview, and a real highlight for me, I met Linz McLeod and her partner. Linz helped me with my first book. She gave me some really good advice and helped me query it and get an agent. So it was so nice to finally get to meet her. As you might be able to tell, this event was already worth it for me, just for getting to meet these people who've had a big influence in my life in person for the first time. But let's talk about the actual event and what went on. Because this was Sunday, things actually started kind of slowly with a raffle, but that was fine. I was happy sitting with people and chatting and getting to know them and seeing the prizes. Oh yeah, I should say, everyone who went to the con got one of these nice tote bags. Yeah, we got a program, which mine is a bit bent. I told you all about the history of Fantasycon. It had timetables with all the events and some extracts from people's books that were coming out. That was really useful. I also got a couple of free books and a name badge, which I'm very proud of, so I'm going to hold on to that one. And there was just a nice relaxed atmosphere to the place. The British Fantasy Awards have been the night before and everyone seemed to be in a really good mood. So after getting coffee and talking to people, I went to the Make Them Suffer talk, which was moderated by Alice James, another one of Laura's authors. That was really interesting. That was talking about kind of mental and physical suffering of characters and the effect this has on the reader. One of the biggest takeaways for me was how affected readers can be by characters suffering, and readers can even be angry with authors for being so mean to characters. In between the panels, I went and got lunch with my writer friends, which feels really great to say, to be honest, and I had time for some book shopping. So I only bought 2 books, even though I wanted to buy more. I bought this one, The Stranger Times, which I read the back and a bit of the inside, and it instantly grabbed me. And I don't know, there's something about the cover on this one I really like. I don't know if you can see all the detail there, but I like the premise, I like the style, and this one just grabbed me. And then Perilous Times, which I'm reading at the moment and really enjoying. And I wanted to get this one because Lynn's introduced me to the author, Thomas D. Lee, who actually signed this copy. He's a really nice guy, and he writes things in a similar style to me, that kind of Pratchett Gaiman style. He even used similar comps to my first book. So I was like, oh yeah, I need to read this. I need to check this out. This is about King Arthur's knights. They have to come back and protect the realm whenever it's in trouble. And obviously, as technology gets more advanced and the years go on, that's more and more difficult. So now they've come back and they have to protect us from global warming. And a lot of the comedy comes from, well, how on earth can they do that? I'm about 80 to 100 pages in, but I'm really enjoying it so far. The second panel I went to was Neurodiversity in Publishing, which again I really enjoyed. A very interesting part for me was when they discussed how depictions of neurodiverse people, good depictions, are often so subtle that not all audience members will pick up that that person is neurodiverse, just like in real life. They also discussed, which I found very interesting, is it better to give a realistic depiction of how society treats neurodiverse people, or is it better to depict the society we would like to have, or do we need a bit of both? So at the end of the afternoon, we all just kind of crashed out at the bar. And most of the people I talked to said something along the lines of the weekend had been great, but it had been a lot. Almost everyone who went for the whole weekend said something to that effect. So I'm quite glad I dipped my toe in with this one and just went for one day. That said, I would definitely consider going for 2 or more days, perhaps on the next one. I know Worldcon's next year in Glasgow, so I'm thinking about that. Let me know if you're planning to go to any cons next year, which ones you want to go to. If you're thinking about Worldcon, yeah, let me know in the comments below. One other thought I had is it is surreal after spending 3 or 4 years working purely online to just see agents and editors and authors walking around a hotel, sharing a space, quite happily chatting with everyone about anything. It was really nice, and it kind of broke down a lot of that barrier of, oh, they're an agent and oh, they're an editor, and kind of a bit of that mystique. And it was nice to get to just talk to people about books and things. So if you're interested in getting into publishing, being published, or you'd like to meet those kind of people, I really would recommend going to one of these conventions, because I don't know if you get that opportunity many other places, and I didn't realize how exciting it was to have that. Thanks for watching this one. Please do like and subscribe and consider sharing the video. I'm going to be doing some more kind of film and TV videos in the next few weeks, but I wanted to do a couple on writing because it's what I've been focusing on mainly recently. So thank you for sticking with me. If you subscribe to this channel for the film and TV content, more is coming, I promise. Yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've been to a con, if you'd like to go to one, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer. Yeah, thanks for watching and goodbye.